Welcome back, tribe. I have a video here recommended for you guys. It says after 1.5 years in the Philippines, this is the hard truth that no one talks about. It's from Chad Forster.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hanging out on the front porch at my brother's house in Southern Ontario. Summertime in Canada. Life is good. Can't complain. It's so good to see my family. And I've been thinking a lot about, my life in the Philippines. And now that I'm back here and I'm enjoying all of these amazing things that Canada has to offer, especially this time of year, it's got me thinking about some comparing. And for you guys that have not pulled the trigger and maybe aren't quite sure what you're getting into, if you're thinking of leaving Canada, leaving the US or any other Western country, and you're all hyped about it. You've been watching videos. And if you're like me, you went down a rabbit hole of watching videos that are purely positive and they're about the dream of a new life in the Philippines or any other country for that matter. And a lot of videos just point out these positive things and they sort of make you feel that FOMO, like you're missing out. If you come to the Philippines, it's nothing but beautiful beaches, beautiful nature, beautiful women. Your money's going to go far. You're going to have a beautiful girlfriend and life is good. And this video is to be more of a reality check of what it's like, because now that I'm back here in Canada and I see, a lifestyle here that is very healthy for most people in terms of like access to parks, access to clean, a clean environment, a healthy, safe environment. And, thinking back of the Philippines and what.
Yeah, before he starts, I have to go in. The realities of Eastern Europe, I probably should tell you guys, listen, the beautiful women, they're everywhere. The cost of living is really cheap. It doesn't compare to Southeast Asia, but still, you only go overseas because you can take your money with you, and the life you're afforded, you can begin to live instead of get by. There's no point in going overseas if your primary objective is just women. The guys that are going overseas to only get laid are thinking of the short-term benefits of just the exoticism, passing through a place, but you still go back, slaving away in the country you hate that's draining you of all your energy, looking forward to the next time you scrounge up enough pennies to escape for your fun again. You're a fucking toad in a system that's designed to drain your soul. Plan your escape permanently. It's not a vacation. You're leaving. Guys need to understand this. Now, what happens when you leave permanently, you're going to start seeing some differences in the culture that may be shocking. For example, although the difference in a capital city versus America and what you're used to, quality of life, building standards, things of that nature, infrastructure in general, roads, all that is basically non-existent today. It all looks the same. Once you go out into the countryside, you begin to travel back in time. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 60 years. There's people that are still living without running water. People are still using outhouses. People are still it's so far back an American could not begin to fathom, because even in America, small towns still have high-end infrastructure compared to the rest of the world. It's what America does best. Infrastructure is crazy. Roadways are crazy. You're going to be driving on roads that sometimes are partly asphalted. Other times they turn into dirt. Other times they turn into fucking mud if you're driving during a rainy season. It's so vastly different. It does become a headache. But when you find your place and you settle in, and by settling, I mean you're living in a place that's probably 2-3 times bigger than yours in America. You have access to amenities you could never dream of affording in America unless you had 4x the salary. Because when you go to these countries, you essentially do have 4x, 8x the salary compared to locals. And so you're afforded a life that seems like you're living like a millionaire back home, despite the quality of the country overall not holding a candle to the United States infrastructure-wise. Now, the people, they change completely too. You can get by in a lot of these countries without knowing the local language. It helps tremendously if you do, but there is so many expats that live here, and honestly, every business speaks English anyways because it's the international business language by default. So anybody, anywhere you go to that may be even an upper end part of town, all can speak English anyways. But the reality of it is you will be away from family. It will feel isolating if you're very close to the ones you may be leaving behind. If you have children that are older, that's really hard on men. The guys that are going there with their pensions and retiring, they're going out there by themselves. They're leaving their kids behind that are grown. There are no more family meetups anymore unless you start to plan stuff like flying out. And it's not flying one state over or driving down a state. It's like a 14+ hour flight. It is brutal. Another aspect of this is you'll never belong. Even if you marry into one of their own, you will always be a foreigner. Now, that's not really a bad thing, but we don't have this culture in the rest of the world that America has where you can be considered American if all you do is just speak good English. Basically, it doesn't matter where you're from, where you come from, what you look like, black, white, Asian, blah, blah, blah. We're all technically American. That's America is the melting pot, as they say, of the world. That doesn't exist in other parts. Like you're either one of them or you're not. They'll be very courteous to you, but you'll never get in with them like you may want to. They will never accept you as one of their own. And that's within their right. You're a foreigner, you're a guest in their countries. And that leads me to my next point. You're a guest. You'll permanently be a guest as you're renewing your visa. Now, being a guest means you're not going to have access to similar laws like the locals do. There will be biases against you in court, biases against you in the street. When street justice, you get drunk at a bar and you mess with the locals will beat your ass first and then take the side of the party that may be in the right. For example, they'll still beat your ass just because, he's a foreigner, he's causing trouble. It's same thing in other countries I've been to. Keep your nose clean. Don't get into any business you're not supposed to. Be very courteous and kind to everybody because you don't want to be jailed in an overseas prison. You don't want to rustle up feathers in a place where you don't have the same rights as you would in America. Your due process is going to be completely different. Now, most people never get into troubles like this. They live nice, quiet lives. They'll go overseas. They find a woman. They'll get married. They buy property, live out on the land, have some chickens, tons of whatever animals or even more land than they need. And they live out the rest of their days very comfortably. But other guys don't go there with the purest intentions and they'll pay dearly for it. Another thing, healthcare. As much as we shit on the cost of healthcare in America, which is fucking atrocious to say the least, in other parts of the world, healthcare may be free, but the standard of care, at least here in Eastern Europe, I can't speak for the Asian countries, the standard of care across the hospitals is a fucking joke. I would not be caught dead going to them. I don't give a shit what my viewers think, and maybe I'm making our country look bad or our region look bad. Balkan countries are a fucking nightmare still. Don't give a shit how much better they got. It's a joke. I will not even have my woman give birth in any of these hospitals. They're disgusting. Their standard of care needs to go up by tenfold before I would even consider them. Walking in them is a fucking nightmare. When I went into one of these, specifically in this story, a Croatian hospital for my girl to get some basic medicine and checkups done, I felt like I was in fucking Soviet Russia 1980. It was insane. That's what the state of the hospital was in. So healthcare for Americans that may have ailments or ongoing chronic diseases that need to be managed, specifically some ones that might need specialists. You need to take into consideration some of this stuff when you're going overseas. Not everywhere has the standard of care America does. Obviously, you can move into other countries like Switzerland, or you can move to like Germany or all this other shit. But again, you're paying Western prices and the power of your dollar evaporates instantaneously. You're back to living in a place that you cannot afford. Nowhere is perfect, guys. Some places are much better overall than others, but there is a give and take in this world. Believe me, you are giving up some things in order to attain all the rest. So be okay with what you'll hand back versus what you'll get. Now let's let him finish his portion and we'll critique and comment on it.
What life is really like over there, there's drawbacks. There's big drawbacks, guys. There's like huge things that can be quite annoying if you let them get to you. You're going to deal with loud noises, inefficiency, things take forever, not great infrastructure, not great at all. So internet, unpredictable internet, could be good, might be really slow, might turn off, brownouts sometimes, depending on where you live. Roosters, dogs, sadness of seeing, mangy dogs and cats and homeless kids and potholes. As soon as you leave the bubble in Cebu, it's garbage. You could be on a beach in a beautiful area and it's sort of cleaned up a little bit, and then you just go a few feet around the corner, garbage everywhere. I don't talk about this stuff that often, but it's reality. And I'm not making this video to blast the Philippines. It's not just a Philippines thing. I mean, I've been to other developing countries and, some of this is common. A whole list of reasons why. And it's nothing to do with, just labeling people or anything like that. Government has a lot to do with it. A lack of support,
corruption,
things that are put in place to make it easy for people to manage garbage and to even have incentive and stuff like that. So it's a whole thing, right? But point of this video is reality, the reality of what you're getting into when you sell everything, leave your beautiful, comfortable, peaceful place where you live, and you go to a place like the Philippines. You have to be aware that it's not la la land. It's not perfect. There are things that are potentially going to be annoying, and not everyone. It doesn't work out for everyone. There are people that go there, they try it, they turn around, they come back. Maybe they start looking into another So you have to go with the right expectation. But here's the main point of the video that I'm finally getting to. So as much as I'm really seeing how nice it is here, and it is a good quality of life, it's a very expensive to maintain the quality of life here, to be able to do the things that Canada and the US and other countries has in place for you. It's not cheap. It's crazy expensive, and it's only gotten worse over the last few years. And it seems to be continuing to trend in that direction in the US as well. I'm kind of speaking for both because my life being in the US quite a bit as well. St. Pete is a phenomenal city in Florida. It is so cool. They've been pouring money into it. It's a really healthy lifestyle. Parks everywhere, same thing. So many bars and restaurants and museums and just really great stuff. Beautiful. It's clean. It's safe, like right in the main area of St. Pete anyways. And so you have to give up a lot of that stuff, but what you're also giving up is a very expensive lifestyle. And what I remember is feeling that pressure of, working to just get that bill paid,
getting by,
have some left over to save. My brother here makes great money. Wife's a teacher, and they have 2 kids. They're involved in a lot of stuff. They spend a lot of money on that, just to have a good, healthy meal every meal for the kids, and have the fridge stocked, and to have a few vacations a year, and then put a little bit away for retirement. That's kind of all they have. And I'm not going to do a tour of their house, but they're in a neighborhood here that it's a beautiful neighborhood, but just to get a basic house that's nothing fancy, it's crazy expensive. It is so difficult to just get established here and, make something happen. And man, I can't even imagine for like younger generations that are growing up here, what they're going to do. But if you're at that retirement age, or even if you're like my age and you're working and you're struggling, a place like the Philippines is an answer to some of these issues. And that's what makes a place like the Philippines so appealing and so workable. And I know I listed a bunch of annoying things or some of the cons of the Philippines. There's tons of pros too, right? The people are great. They're so friendly, welcoming, it's safe, beautiful nature places to visit. There are nice beaches and waterfalls. And there's just a whole bunch of other things too that you have to overcome. But when you go there, and if you're earning US dollars, Canadian dollars, whatever, it goes so far there that you can sort of build a bubble around yourself. You can get set up. You can find a place that makes sense for you. If you want to go premium city, you can live in BGC, have a beautiful condo with all the amenities at a fraction of the price compared to here.
Yep.
Or you can live in a small town, or you can live in the province. If you can put up with some of these things that really have to understand that you're walking into a world that's so different. So you have to sort of adjust your mindset, but you can also, make up for some of those things. For example, you can have a personal assistant. I'm going to look into this just for like having someone cook and clean and things that I don't want to do. Go shopping, picking up things, running errands so I can focus on work or whatever. I know that people make like the service industry, or for someone to like clean for you or do these things. It's pretty cheap. Someone was telling me they had a full-time live-in cleaner, cook, kids. They were paying them like $200 a month or something like that.
Holy shit.
So I'm going to look into that, but it's affordable. If you have the budget with a little bit of extra, you can build a life in the Philippines to make up for some of the downsides of the Philippines and live a high quality of life. You're not going to avoid all of those things. There's always going to be, like I was just in El Nido, Palawan, and my buddy noticed it more than me because I've been there a while, but this is like your number one spot, right? There's top 5 places, but El Nido, Palawan, and Coron, these are top tourist spots in the Philippines. You're right in the downtown main area, and it is messy. There's some nice resorts next to a pile of junk, next to a messy, unfinished, whatever they're doing, stuff that seems like it's just been piled up for months. You got to step over things, might be some exposed wires. And then there's some nice stuff again. It's the Philippines. Even in the primo stuff, when I was in Moalboal in Cebu, very touristy, very popular. People are pouring in, coming and going, spending money. Yet there's just like these abandoned areas, piles of trash, messy stuff mixed in with really cool, like touristy restaurant, nice restaurant, a bar, whatever. Beautiful reef, you can snorkel in, but then you come out.
Yeah, that's what I love about America. When you're looking at a new apartment complex or a new neighborhood being built, they they build the correct way. Here's how they build. They pave the road first. They connect all the sewage, the electrical, all that stuff is connected first onto each plot of land. In the rest of the world, I'll just say in Eastern Europe, they build the house first, then they connect anything if there's anything to connect. It's so fucking stupid. I cannot tell you how many little villages and towns I've driven by to see these houses that are not connected to the main infrastructure, and half of them are there, probably don't even have a permit to be building the house there. They just build one up real quick. People are still using outhouses, like I told you, no running water, plumbing, whatever, and probably depending on well water from the property. But regardless, it's sad to see that even here, the major builders, the area I live in, I think I should do a video on that shit for you guys. This is a primo area, highly exclusive, very expensive, that I live in for the locals. Extremely clean. You'll see supercars and luxury vehicles in the upper range of hundreds of thousands of euros regularly. Even here, although my little road is perfect. Everything is paved. The little lights, the aesthetic looks amazing, all ultra modern. There is a little lot next to me where they've put all their working materials, all the building materials left over from when this place was being constructed, and it's still there to this day. Everything's finished. Why the fuck is there a random lot with dirt and siding and building material and just looking disgusting? A complete eyesore. That never happens in America. When they build up a place and they conceptualize it and you see like the artist rendering, it almost looks like that. 99% of the time it'll come out just like the artist rendering, and there will be no eyesores around you. America doesn't build like that. America builds it to the T what it looks like. Why? Because we live in a sue happy culture in the West. Like, they will sue the shit out of you if you don't deliver exactly what you said you were going to deliver. Here, there's not really any recourse like that. So even when looking at the area I live in, they have in one of the lobbies where you walk in, the 3D building, like the mini model that you have encased in glass that you could walk around and see what this place is supposed to look like. It does not look like that. The surrounding green vegetation areas that are supposed to be like walkable parks or whatever, they don't look like that. That lot is currently full of fucking Tyvek siding and all this other shit foam. What the fuck? This place has been done since I've moved here, at least, and that was a year ago. So things like overseas and how they show you those like those concepts, the 3D renderings of what a apartment complex is supposed to look like, or how this house is supposed to look like if you build one up from scratch, is straight bullshit. Don't buy any of it. It's a fucking garbage. Most of these builders here are shit. That's putting it lightly. Let's continue.
Out, and it's just like, oh wow, why is that here? Why is this not fixed up or cleaned up? Why hasn't money come in, or the government or the private sector? I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. But the reality is there's just a lot of things you have to just be okay with and ignore, and it's not perfect. You're not going to Hawaii, to one of their top areas. You're not going to, a European vacation somewhere where everything's super nice. It's just not like that there. So you're giving up stuff, you're gaining a position of freedom and lifestyle as a wealthier person because of the cost difference, and bringing, your foreign dollars to a place where you can splurge on certain things. So that's biggie. That's the main point of this video. It's to sort of point out there are huge drawbacks, guys, that really...
Yeah, not everywhere's perfect, dude. Like I said, it's a give and take. And look, everybody feels the same. I'm 54 and my wife and I are very worried about our future. Gas and food prices rising daily. We have had our savings dwindle with the cost of living in the stratosphere, and we are finding it impossible to replace them. We can get by, but we can't seem to get ahead. My condolences to anyone retiring in this crisis. 30 years nonstop just for a crooked system to take all you worked for. Oh, look, there's me. Look, the truth about Eastern Europe right here. Bam. And that's on the second channel that I mentioned to you guys, by the way. My wife and I retired to the Philippines in 2015, and we've been very happy here. We're fortunate to have found a pleasant, clean, and largely peaceful farm. Our closest neighbor is an 8-minute walk away. We don't have the barking dogs, crowing roosters, or garbage issues. I understand what you're talking about because I've seen the same things, and you're spot on. But the number one trick or secret to coming here is to learn Tagalog. Yeah, you're a retiree or a dude perspective like pensioner going there is not taking the time to learn fucking Tagalog. Dude, get out of here. And or have a trustworthy wife or partner who speaks the language. Well, that's why his life's easier, because his woman is from the Philippines. Live in the countryside. It's safe, clean, quiet, affordable, and you can grow most of your food. Again, that's the ideal take. If you marry into one of their own and you start a life there and she can translate for you, and, shit gets a lot easier that way. Oh, here's another guy about honest opinion. We'll do this one later. 2 years in the Philippines. I'm 47. I live in Alabama, and retiring here would be depressing. You remind me a lot of another Canadian YouTuber that's always complains about Wi-Fi and things that are futile. The thing I love the most about Latin America and Asia is the warmth of the people and the feelings that people are alive and open to human connections. I live in a very nice condo here, and I don't know not even one person on my floor. When people see you here, I almost feel like some people go out of their way to avoid any human interaction. This is not a normal society. Most people in the USA are lonely and socially disconnected. That's a fact. It says, look, as a Filipino, I tried convincing my German husband to live in the Philippines after spending 5 years in Germany, where I never quite felt at home. We sold everything and moved, trying out various locations such as Cebu, Palawan, Siargao, Dumaguete, and with those other ones, probably can't pronounce them, not even going to try. However, even in my hometown of Cebu, we struggled to find a place where we truly felt settled. Safety, food quality, and decent housing were consistently lacking. Despite paying $700 to $1,500 for a furnished accommodations, the quality never matched the price. Eventually gave up trying to convince my husband. We moved to Thailand. And I have to admit, it's been a much better experience. The healthcare, safety, and overall quality of life are significantly better here. With Thailand's new DTV visa for digital nomads like us, we plan to stay longer. Unfortunately, my experience in the Philippines was disappointing. Even when paying a premium, the standard of living remains low, with locals accustomed to subpar services, yet expecting foreigners to pay top dollar. Ooh-wee. Don't have those problems here in Eastern Europe, but you're going to be paying far more than you would in the Philippines. So Eastern Europe brings its own problems, its own set of unique experiences. However, I grew up here. I was born here. I wouldn't trade it for the world. For me, it's easy to assimilate here. And to other Americans that are more European oriented and would like to live in Southeastern Europe and appreciate the greenery, the way of life, or have family ties here, have said all positive things. It depends where you want to go and where you want to take your money. Overall, if I had to choose, if I had no family, if I had no ties to any lands, and if I was purely a pensioner or had a limited budget, I would go to Thailand personally. I think you get the most bang for your buck there. It's extremely developed compared to a lot of these other places. Huge expat community. A lot of people speak English there. Country is absolutely beautiful. Tropical jungles, amazing exotic beaches. Food's great. Love spicy food, all that stuff. Power of the dollar goes far. So I would highly implore like most men to at least try Thailand first and then branch out and go to some other places. Depends. It's all in the budget, guys. Remember, the name of the game is freedom first above all else financially. All that other shit comes after that. So if you enjoyed today's episode, follow the second channel. Look, this one right here, Bo Refik. Go see the truth about Eastern Europe, or me walking around so you can see what Eastern Europe looks like and how much it's developed and what the people are like, and the difference in mentality here that people have and how much families are, at the forefront of society, yada, yada, man. There's so much to talk about. If you haven't, sign up to the private community, join us on some of the calls you'll see on the second channel. We'd love to have you. Have them up to 5 times a week, actually, and potentially more with events and prizes and stuff that are being rolled out soon. Appreciate everybody that's been doing private consultations as well as buying shirts, guys. All links are in the description below. It helps the channel directly. Obviously, we're not going to be cucks for corporations, and appreciate everybody that tunes in every day. Hope you guys have had a good week, a great start to your week, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.